Greetings from LA, my dear friends. This is Daisuke, and I very much hope that this video finds you well and in very good spirits wherever you are in the world. And right now, it is the middle of February, and February 16th, actually, where I am at the moment. And it's my understanding that yesterday, on February 15th, the Criterion Collection made its announcement with respect to its planned releases for May 2024. So if you're interested in what the Criterion Collection has planned for us in May, a few months from now, then my strong suggestion is please check out their website, the Criterion Collection website, directly for more information about technical specifications, about planned special features, planned cover art designs, write-ups on the films, cast and crew breakdowns, etc., etc. And that also holds true for all of the films in the catalog of the Criterion Collection, not just these planned releases for May, but the planned releases for May are up there as well. So please check out the Criterion Collection website directly for such information. But if it's okay with you, my dear friends, before we actually are able to receive and enjoy these films in May, if it's okay, you and I just share our thoughts and comments with regard to the planned releases for May 2024 from the Criterion Collection. And also, before I continue, let me just point out that these are my initial thoughts and comments about this release announcement, again, through the Criterion Collection website. My impressions or my views or opinions may, of course, change over the coming months, or when the actual item arrives in the mail. So, or when I go to my local Barnes and Noble to purchase it in stores. So in any event, these are just initial impressions, but if that's okay with you, let us share our initial thoughts and comments with regards to the planned releases for May. And so, therefore, let us get right to it. Scheduled for release according to the website, scheduled for release May 7th, 2024. And this is a title, this is a collection of two films, all under the collective spine number 232. And these are two films, one from 1934 and one from 1959. And these are each from the filmmaker who is Yasujiro Ozu. And the names of the works are in English: Story of Floating Weeds from 1934 and Floating Weeds from 1959. And once again, collectively, spine number 232. And this is planned for release, according to the website, in May, with a single disc Blu-ray set. And I mention that because, as some of you may know, this title already exists in a double disc DVD set, and I apologize. There we go. The reflection from the sunlight in the window there. Sorry about that. But this is the DVD as it currently stands, and so this is the special edition double disc set, which we had, and it's a really great one, and it's a great set because of, well, among many reasons, but perhaps primarily because of the inclusion of these quite miraculous films. Again, in English, A Story of Floating Weeds and then Floating Weeds. Ozu's works here have I think, elegance and a real, what one might call, and again, I mean this very optimistically and very complimentarily, which is a beauty of simplicity. But that beauty of simplicity, I think, when one watches the films, I think, has the potential of unearthing quite complex emotions and feelings and psychological states and viewpoints of the world and relationships in the context of this wonderful sort of dramatic setup of a small town location and sort of traveling groups. So I am very happy with this set already, and I'm a huge fan of these two films. I think these two films by Ozu, I think, showcase in many ways, the what it could be known as a type of Ozu style and aesthetic, both in terms of filmmaking prowess and also in terms of the content and the subject matter of the stories and the human stories and the details and the frailties of the characters, rendered with such, I think, earnestness and a type of compassionate commitment, cinematically so, from Ozu and company. So this set of films already existing in the Criterion Collection is brilliant, but what we already have at the moment is this DVD set. And so therefore my understanding is that what we are going to get in May is a Blu-ray single disc. So that means, I'm assuming therefore, the two films will be made available on a single disc. And what is also being indicated here is it's going to say, or it says on the website, 4K digital master of Floating Weeds with uncompressed monaural soundtrack for the Blu-ray. And then for A Story of Floating Weeds, it's a high definition digital master featuring the score by composer Donald Sosin. So it looks like, at least in terms of the high definition digital master for A Story of Floating Weeds, that seems to be consistent with what we got in the earlier DVD. But with regard to the film Floating Weeds, the film from '59, it looks like when we had the DVD, this DVD offered that film in what was defined or described at the time as a new high definition digital transfer, whereas now it looks like we're getting a 4K digital master. So we shall see what Criterion has in store for us with respect to this. I should point out too that it looks like, according to the website, we are getting a carryover of the supplements that we have already in the DVD set, but those will be carried over into the new Blu-ray release, again scheduled for release in May 2024. I must say once again, I think that there are so many wonderful places in the Ozu canon to visit, and I think that this combination of films is so exquisite and so marvelous, because it makes, I think, it makes for very entertaining and engaging viewing on the one hand, and also we see the connections between these two films, A Story of Floating Weeds, the earlier film, and then Floating Weeds, the later film. And I think this is also indicative of the type of cinematic style of Ozu and how he has this wonderful aspect of his reputation where he is regarded, at least in some circles, to be re-examining stories that might have been examined earlier in his career, and then seeing it from, say, different viewpoints, working with, say, different crew members and other artists behind the camera and also in front of the camera. But it's an amazing, I think, example of the dynamism of Ozu's career and how there's this type of there's this way in which everything seems to be connecting, even down to certain aspects of story and style and human drama. So you get a great sense of that with the combination of these two films in this double feature prepared by Criterion or provided by Criterion. So this is another wonderful indication into the world and style and substance of Ozu's films, with these two, I think, as great examples of that. So that's, I think, a great way or that's my way perhaps to also suggest that this might be a great place to go if you have not yet visited the world of Yasujiro Ozu, and you might be interested in doing so. This might be a great place to go. You're getting two films for the price of one, in a manner of speaking. So that's something to consider. Or if you are already familiar with the world of Ozu, but you have not yet seen these two films, I think this is a great opportunity to do so. But of course, yes, for those who are already fans of the world of Ozu and already have seen these two films, this is, I think, another great place to go. As I say, it's wonderful to get this collection in a one-stop shop, as it were, and to examine them. I mean, one part of the fun of watching Ozu films is the films themselves, but seeing how they have this type of dynamic relationship with other films in the Ozu canon, and these two films, I think, are a great example of that. So that's part of the fun of this, and you get them in one release. It's wonderful. So we got the earlier DVD, which is great, and we're getting the newer Blu-ray release. So we shall see what that has in store for us. But in any event, yes, scheduled for release in May 2024, May 7th, 2024, and that is the combo of Story of Floating Weeds and Floating Weeds for the Blu-ray release. Next, scheduled for release May 14th, 2024, and this is scheduled for a Blu-ray single disc or a 4K plus Blu-ray 2 disc release. So the 4K disc and the Blu-ray disc in that release, or you can opt for the single Blu-ray release. And this is for a film which is described as being from the year 1960. And the name of the filmmaker is Michael Powell. And this is spy number 58. And the name of the work is Peeping Tom. So there is a lot to say, I think, a lot to say about this. I should point out that this release of Peeping Tom is it's described as being the new 4K digital restoration with uncompressed monaural soundtrack, presented in Dolby Vision HDR for the in terms of the 4K UHD disc. And also we have the Blu-ray, if you're thinking about the Blu-ray or the combo, which has special features such as audio commentaries and the like. So this film, I know, is already receiving some wonderful 4K treatment from other labels outside of Criterion, but Criterion and the film Peeping Tom, and indeed the films of Michael Powell, either in concert or together with the great filmmaker Emmerich Pressburger, or here in terms of produced and directed by Michael Powell, again 1960, one of the most famous or infamous films of Michael Powell's career, and certainly during the period of British cinema. That is this film Peeping Tom. I have a kind of I think this film has a chilling brilliance to it. I remember when I first saw it, I was in almost all parts of it. I was shocked and stunned, and I was totally taken aback. And I'd seen it on a home media release many years ago in college. But before that, I had read a little bit about it, and I'd heard about its notorious reputation and having a very violent edge to it, having a very dark, seedy psychological edge to it. At least that's how it was described, with also entry points into what was described in any event to be maybe forms and viewpoints of sleaze. And so this was very intriguing to me, especially given the earlier films that I had seen in terms of Michael Powell and Emmerich Pressburger's great partnership and collaboration in terms of the Archers. So when I ended up finally being able to catch up with it again during my college student years, I had heard a little bit about what to expect, but I must admit nothing really could prepare me for what the actual experience would be of watching the film right there. So it was a very shocking experience, and I think it's made all the more shocking by the way in which it traverses this terrain of the psychological, in terms of our main character, who is a character named Mark. Now, I say in most parts because I do also recognize this film as a type of a drama or melodrama. It might also be described as a type of kitchen sink drama from certain vantage points, and I think those points are very well rendered on their own. But there's a really interesting way, an almost uneasy way, which I think these aspects of the film kind of sit together in one film. And so that, I'll be perfectly honest, on a personal note, makes me sway. It makes me go back and forth in terms of its overall impact on me. And sometimes I look at the film and I think it's an interesting, engaging drama aspect of the film, which may or may not be completely in concert with the really quite almost revolutionary way which I think it's taking into account this idea of a point of view, the overlap of psychology and cinema, and taking it to, I think, very, very meaningful and in that way, very meaningful and quite thought-provoking ways. And so I find it to be, in many ways, kind of two films in one. And whether or not those two films distinctly sit together comfortably together, it really depends on my mood and frame of mind at a given point in time when I watch this film. So that's why I sway. I tend to go back and forth, but uh, I'm always, at the end of the day, I marvel and I am just struck by its almost ruthless and almost seething power, cinematic power, and I think that is undeniable. And I find it to be quite a quite a thoroughly almost in many ways almost quite and I mean this again very complimentarily in those aspects of the film that are thoroughly unrelenting in terms of its psychological impact. I think it has this way of being almost undigestible as a cinematic confection that is, I think, very creative, but also very creative and also very very confrontational. And so it's these things too. And it's also, as I say, a type of human drama that may or may not be an effective counterpoint to the displays of the sort of the violent bravura, which it certainly is there. And what it asks and what it poses in terms of questions and assumptions, I think, lead to very disturbing paths indeed, which makes it, I think, quite compelling work of cinema. And I know that I am voicing it in a way that is perhaps incomplete, and there have been many people throughout the world, throughout history, who have voiced it much better than I. But this will be a great opportunity to, again, continue to engage with this almost revolutionary work, which is Peeping Tom. In many respects. So I continue to engage with it, and so this will be yet another opportunity for me to engage with this film, Peeping Tom, when the 4K but from Criterion comes out. And again, I understand there have been other non-Criterion labels that are engaging in the 4K space in this film, and good for them. The more exposure that this film gets, the more potential new people or the maybe people who are watching this for the first time who are really interested in the works of Michael Powell or British cinema, this type of very intriguingly dark psychological cinema. I think this is a great opportunity to visit this film, whether it be Criterion or otherwise. But I'm looking forward to the Criterion when it arrives. I should also point out, too, just as a very brief note, that this is not the first time, of course, that Peeping Tom has been released by Criterion. It's had, I think, a very interesting and very healthy relationship with Criterion, at least in terms of the early days of Criterion and Criterion DVD. And I'm speaking, of course, about this release by Criterion back in the early days of the DVD catalog. And so this was at spine number 58. And I believe that, yes, it's still at spine number 58. So that's good to see that continuity there. But it's a reminder, too, of this film, which had fallen out of print with this DVD, but now we get the film back quite triumphantly in terms of new Blu-ray. I don't see any DVD listed in the Criterion website, so no DVD offering, but we are getting the new Blu-ray and then the new 4K plus Blu-ray 2 discs set, so 2 disc release, I should say, with the new cover art. Quite disturbing cover art indeed, but this was Criterion's disc back in the day, the DVD disc, and so it had fallen out of print in the Criterion catalog, but it's nice to see it return in this way. So this is, I understand, and I know this is quite big news indeed. So again, May 14th, scheduled for release May 14th at spine number 58. Spine number 58 is back, my friends, and that's in the form of this film, which is Peeping Tom. Next, scheduled for release May 21st, 2024. And what a release this is. And the 21st of May, it's my birthday, so this makes me very, very happy indeed to get this opportunity for maybe a little present for me in the form of this Criterion release. And this is a Criterion release which is going to be offered either as a 3-disc DVD set or a 3-disc Blu-ray set. And I'm speaking of a set of films, 3 feature films, collectively under spine number 1217. And these are films from the extraordinary filmmaker who is Ousmane Sembène. And this set is given the title overall of 3 Revolutionary Films by Ousmane Sembène. And these 3 films, directed by Sembène, are going to be offered in what is described as being new 4K digital restorations of all 3 films with uncompressed monaural soundtracks. This is electrifying. This is absolutely electrifying. I'm so even if it weren't my birthday on that day, I would still be just over the moon about this announcement. This is fantastic. Now, the films that are included here, the 3 feature films, are from 1971, which is Emitai, and then 1975, which is Shala, and then 1977, which is Chedo. So this is, I think, also a wonderful opportunity. I have seen 2 of the 3 films. I've seen Shala and I've seen Chedo. I have not seen Emitai I've tried to, but I've been unable to for one reason or another. But now is my opportunity to watch this. I have heard a lot of things about this film, and so I have always been so eager to try to watch it. But now is my opportunity in May. So thank you very much for this. Now, as for the other 2 films that I've seen in this, the one from 1975, Shala, this is, how should I put this? This is there is a satirical biting edge that is almost winking at the camera, that is very sly, that's very creative, that's very clever, in the form of, say, folklore and popular culture and sexual farce and almost the rules, engaging with the rules of cinema. And I think we always seen this in the works of Sembène. For example, the works of Sembène that have seen, I think, wonderful Criterion releases before, but I think this Hala is another great example of this. And so this is one of my favorites from Sembène, the films that I've seen by him. So to get this release here is really quite wonderful. And again, unfortunately I have never been able to see it in a type of, say, a high definition quality per se. So I'm looking forward to seeing what the 4K has to offer in terms of this really quite extraordinary works. I'm so excited for this, and I very much hope that a lot of people will be able to watch this, perhaps, or would be interested in watching this. If you haven't done so already, because this is, I think, one of the highly regarded works of filmmaker whose career is essentially filled with so many highly regarded works. Another which being the 3rd film in this, which I have seen, which is called Chedo, which is from the late 70s. And if you want to see the type of prowess of filmmaking artistry and the breadth of scope that is within the cinematic artistic arsenal, if you will, of Sembène's genius as a filmmaker, I think one of the great juxtapositions you can have as a viewer is to go from a work like Sala on the one hand and go to a work like Chedo on the other. And so there is, I think, a lot of there's a type of underpinning of an urgency which has a direct flavor to it, and which has its sensibilities in a sense of, how should I put it, a type of clash, which also and clash and almost class structures, class and clash, which I think is very apropos and very almost it's ruggedly in the face of the viewer, almost confronting the viewer, almost urging the questioning in the context of the story, which is, I think, very I think it's cinematically aggressive and very bold on the one hand, and also quite provoking. And indeed, it leads to a number of questions, which I think is always at the heart of a work like Cheto, and indeed very emblematic of Sembène's work overall. At least my understanding of it is, and I grant you, and I admit I have a very shallow understanding of the social political underpinnings that are at work in works like Cheto and others. But I think releases like Criterion's have always helped to provide a certain foundation for further exploration. So, but Cheto, I think, is one of those films that is. It's a type of knockout work of cinema, and it's very bold, and it's again quite confrontational. So this, I think, this combination of films in this set will, I hope, showcase, if anything, not just the prowess and the brilliance and the urgency of the films in question, but also just the prowess and the breadth of scope of Sembène as a filmmaker and an artist, which I think has always been one of the great aspects of his artistry, and the way in which the infusing of the intensity of the idea in cinematic expression. I think Sembène there's something quite powerful about that, because if I were to try to distill it, because there's a way in which it can reach you, even with regard to a place and time and a situation. For instance, for me directly, I don't have the direct experience of living in this place and time of these stories and characters of the films, Shala or Cheto or other films in the Criterion Collection, Mandabi, for example. But there is a way in which those films and Sembène's reach and focus can get you and can really grab you and enthrall you and shock you and make you laugh. Sort of tickle the cinematic sensibility, while also asking those very keen and sometimes even quite difficult questions that have a reach in terms of folklore and tradition on the one hand, and also a sense of the clash of and class related dynamics of colonialism and post-colonialism on the other, and identity, self-worth, which is always having a political tint to it, of course, but it's always a human drama, and it's always about individuals, and it's always about the beating hearts of these individuals, and so they are living in the world of the cinematic world of Sembène. So if sets like this, and it looks like from the Criterion description here that it has the potential of doing so, if sets like this can introduce more people to the world of Sembène, or if it can further guide into a further understanding into the world of Sembène, then I'm all for it. And so, and the fact that it's going to be released on my birthday, I think, is just the cherry on top of the sundae, in a manner of speaking. Though, as I say, I think I would be just as excited were this being released on a day other than my birthday. But I am over the moon about this. And indeed, as I mentioned before at the top of this, I said that I've seen two of the three films. I haven't seen the earliest film, the 71 film. So this is further aspect or further reason to be excited, at least as far as I'm concerned. So I am truly thrilled by this. It looks like there's a DVD offering, as I say, 3 discs, which is great. It's great to see the DVD format still being engaged with by Criterion, as well as the option of having the Blu-ray 3-disc set. So in any event, this is the set, which is 3 revolutionary films by Ousmane Sembène. Next, scheduled for release on May 28th, 2024. And this is a film which is described as being from the year 2023, excuse me. And this is for spine number 1218. And this is a film from the filmmaker Justine Triet. And the name of the work in English is Anatomy of a Fall. And I should point out that this is being described as a 2K digital master with 5.1 surround DTS HD in terms of the audio soundtrack. and also it's being offered either as a single disc Blu-ray, or you have the choice of getting the 2-disc DVD set. So once again, DVD is still being engaged with by Criterion for this the new releases, including this release, Anatomy of a Fall, spine number 1218. So I have not yet seen this as of the time of making this video. I have heard so many things about this, and of course, at the moment there is this. It's February, so at around this time of year, oftentimes there's a lot of attention given to film-related awards given out to films from the previous year. And so this film, Anatomy of a Fall, has gotten a lot of attention in that regard, in that arena. And also, I've heard so many things from friends and viewers of this channel about this film and how it really resonated with a lot of people, affected a lot of people. And I am trying to keep my understanding of the plot to a very, very bare minimum, but I do also understand and regard that there is well, actually, I'll save that. There are some things that I have heard, and I don't want to speak ahead of myself before I watch the film. So I've actually been trying to catch up with this film this month, but I haven't been able to do so. So now I have this news from Criterion saying that it will be released a little bit later in the year, mind you. So I'll try to perhaps catch up with it before then. But because I'm very, very intrigued, as I say, it's on the tip of my tongue what it is I want to say about what I think I know about this film. But I will save that for when I actually see it, and then when I have the opportunity to share my thoughts with you, my dear friends. But I know that a number of you have already seen this, and I know a number of you have actually reached out to me and expressed your excitement about this release and about this film and about this Criterion announcement. So good for you, and I'm glad to see that this film is getting this type of attention, as well as in the physical media or Criterion catalog space. So I should point out too that it's interesting to see that we have again Criterion has always regarded itself and has always marketed itself as a place for classic and contemporary works of cinema. And so here we have something which I think is, I think very safely can be described as being a contemporary work, being described from 2023, which is last year. So it's nice to see Criterion also give its resources and attention where it can to these recent releases, especially. We have seen this in the past in terms of highly regarded works or critically regarded works. Given a release by Criterion soon afterwards. So this is, I think, a wonderful extension of that. So I'm glad to see this happening, and I hope that it'll give people, for instance, like situated in places like myself who have not yet seen the film but are very intrigued by it, as well as giving opportunity for people who have seen it and have been have expressed their admiration and for this work to visit it again. So looking forward to this very much. So this is a Blu-ray or a DVD release, so very excited about that. And as I say, I'm always a fan of the DVD format, and so I'm glad to see when it does come up in the context of releases. I'm glad to see it, and especially with a contemporary release like this Anatomy of a Fall. So scheduled for release May 28th, 2024 for spine number 1218. It is Anatomy of a Fall. Last, but certainly not least, wow, this is also scheduled for release May 28th, 2024, and this is for a Blu-ray, and this is spine number 1219, and this is a film from Karen Kusama, and the name of the film is Girlfight. Girlfight, this is from the year 2000, so I have not seen this film in so long. I remember seeing this on, I think it was a DVD rental on a recommendation from a friend. And I thought it was amazing. It was such an amazing work. And Michelle Rodriguez in this incredible performance. in terms of the physicality and the fighting and the routines and very very there's a type of cinematic intensity which is so emotional too. And this was such a wonderful watch for me, but I haven't seen it for a number of years. And so news like this from Criterion just comes out of the blue, which is really wonderful news. I'm really pleasant surprise. I'm so happy about this. And it says here, new 4K digital restoration, supervised by director of photography. And then I'm not familiar with the subsequent releases of the film, but it looks like there are a number of supplements which seem to be some are described as new here as well. So again, this was captivating when I had seen it, and now that I'm reading this news from Criterion, the memories are coming back to me about how I'm feeling about this. There's some aspects that I'm now curious about. Maybe my memory's hazy, so I want to revisit some scenes in particular that now are in my head, recall watching and seeing if they are indeed how I remember them, and also if my feelings will be mirroring the feelings that I had when I first saw it, or perhaps with the passage of time now. I might have a different approach. Oh, this is really exciting, but I'm so thrilled by this. It is a very powerful work. And I also like it too. It has a certain sense of pace about it, and a certain sense of presence about it too, which I think it's not overwhelming too, which I think is incredibly itself a very bold statement. So, Girlfight coming to the Criterion Collection. This is wonderful news. So once again, scheduled for release May 28, 2024, and this is for spine number 1219, excuse me, and it's the film which is Girlfight. So that is the collection of titles. The planned releases for May 2024, at least according to the Criterion website as of today, and we're in the middle of February right now. So this is quite something. This is really quite something. I note a few things. I note the attention given to the 4K format for a title which I think is making people very excited for a kind of return of a title that had been in the Criterion catalog before but fell out, but now it's back in. And so Peeping Tom, which is one of the, as I say, most controversial films from 1960s and from the filmmaker Michael Powell. And it's very disturbing and very memorable. So this is, I think, one of the highlights of the month, as well as for the recent or contemporary releases. A lot of attention is given to this film at the moment, which is Anatomy of a Fall. So this will be a wonderful opportunity for people like myself who've heard so much about this but haven't seen this film. I'm very intrigued. So now we're given an opportunity to watch this. Also in the context of a background summary and special features, which I'm looking forward to immensely. And then we have a wonderful surprise of Girlfight, which is a film from 2000, right? Michelle Rodriguez, incredible performance, a wonderful story. And it'll be great to revisit this again after the passage of many years for me. And then the re-emergence or re-release of films from the great filmmaker Yasujiro Ozu, story Floating Weeds and Floating Weeds, the two films which have a certain overlap and similarity but also have a distinct style and nature all their own, and wonderful entry points into the world of Ozu, as well as wonderful reminders of just what makes Ozu films so rich. And these are wonderful films. So, and then perhaps for me personally, what could be the highlight, 3 revolutionary films by Ousmane Sembène, a filmmaker that is so powerful and so witty and so creative and clever and so direct, so in your face, and just a style that I think has a breadth of scope that is also speaking about past, present, and future, and doing it in a way that also emboldens a sense of the human drama, really creates a space for the characters to grow and to have their hearts beating. So, and for me personally, one of the three films in this three revolutionary film set, being one that I have been so itching to watch, but have not been able to until now, or at least until May. So, three revolutionary films by Ousmane Sembène, the set or collector set of three films. So, I don't know about you, but it looks to me like a real wonderful packed month. Very exciting news. I should point out that I see the 4K format being employed not across the board, mind you, but we do see the 4K format still being employed, so that's good news. We see the reemergence of an out of print title in Peeping Tom, so that's also great news. We see also the set, Ousmane Sembène's set, which I think is a continued tradition of these collector sets. I oh gosh, am. I always think, Criterion. How long can I do this, right? How long can I Daisuke bet, but how long can I keep on purchasing these Criterion titles? How long can I keep on watching these releases by Criterion? I mean, won't there be a day someday where I'm just going to say to myself, "Oh, Daisuke, I mean, it's been a good run. Criterion has really shown me so many new films and given me the opportunity to explore films, and given the platform and foundation to be able to continue on with my cinematic journey. No question, no question. But there comes a point where I have to say, gosh, maybe I should stop, or maybe I should just say it's been great, and let's just part ways, and let me now enjoy my time doing other things. Maybe that time might come. Will it come sooner rather than later? Who knows? But I can say that if I'm seeing releases or release announcements like this, then I am, and also the previous month and the month prior to that, I am continually reminded of just how exciting this time can be, and just how exciting the cinematic journey can be, and just how fun and enriching and volatile and just topsy-turvy a cinematic journey can be, showcased through the lens of many different voices across the landscape. And so I am just continuing to feel very challenged and very grateful and very inspired to say that, at least for the time being, yes, the Criterion journey will go on. And so I'm very, very thrilled by this. And so if there is even any part of me that said, oh gosh, how long can my Criterion journey keep on going like this? If there's even any part of me that was asking that, there's no doubt in my mind. It's the answer to that question is, at least if my excitement for these May announcements are concerned, the answer to that question is for a long time to come, I hope, because I am sustained by just how electrifying the prospect of being able to watch these films again in this format, or in this form of the releases here. Just how exciting that is for me. The prospect of being able to watch these again, very eye-opening, very enthralling, very invigorating works again. Further steps along the cinematic journey. Thank you very much, Criterion, for continuing to do this. This is quite amazing. So, yes, for a long time to come, and I'm very, very proud and happy to say that. So, in any event, my dear friends, how do you feel? Are you excited? Are you not so excited? Are you meh? It's okay, or disappointed? Or are you feeling similarly to how I'm feeling, or anywhere in between, or whatever the case may be, my friends. Your feelings are your own, your viewpoints are your own, and I respect them very, very much. So please feel free to let me know in the comment section below, or please feel free to let us know in the comment section below. As always, I'm very happy to hear what it is you have to say. And on that note, thank you very much for sticking around and listening to what it was that I had to say about this. I'm always very honored and thrilled and very moved that you might have an interest in what it is I might have to say about a given topic. I apologize always if my comments are very bland or meh or shallow. That's just who I am. But I'm doing my very best. And so I want to thank you very much for always supporting and encouraging me, and for taking the time to visit. I'm always happy to see you. So, in any event, my dear friends, thank you so much. And now there's an electricity in the air, a little extra bounce in my step, perhaps, just how excited I am about this, and indeed other steps along the way throughout the landscape that is the cinema journey. So I hope that you continue to enjoy yours, and please let me know what exciting stops you make along the way in terms of your own journey if you're interested. I'm always interested to hear what it is you have to say, and of course, I mean, it goes without saying, right? But of course, please continue to be happy and healthy and well. Please continue to be happy and healthy and well. And please, as soon as you've taken care of everything that's important to you and your life and your family and friends and loved ones, as soon as you've taken care of all the stuff that's very important to you and yours, once you've taken care of all that, then please, my dear friends, my dear friends, please continue to watch a lot of great movies, because you deserve it. So with that, thank you and have a wonderful weekend, and cheers.